Brilliant. Right, so Ntaniella. Ntaniella is a part-time academic at the University of Huddersfield and teaches on the MSc in investigative psychology. She completed the MSc in investigative psychology at Huddersfield University in 2016 and was awarded with a distinction for her dissertation on stalking in Greece. Her PhD is focused on stalking and stalking myths in Greece and the UK. Ntaniella has published articles related to the field of investigative psychology. She currently contributes to various research projects such as human trafficking and modern slavery, stalking, and internet-facilitated sexual offending. Other research interests include cyber stalking, tax fraud, revenge porn, human trafficking, and sex trafficking. So I'll give it to you.
Hi everyone. If you hear banging, it's my crazy uncle, so just ignore him. Let me start sharing my screen. Okay. See that? Okay. Can everybody see that? Okay, awesome.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, so I'm going to be talking about profiling tax scammers. This is research that MJ did, and I contributed in her paper, doing editing and just adding some stuff. So I'll begin. Oh, if you have any questions, put them in the chat, and if I don't see them, the guys will let me know, so we can go through them as we're talking about it. Okay, so I'm just going to start with generally what is fraud. The Office of Fair Trade in 2006 defined scams as misleading or deceptive business practice where individuals receive an unsolicited or uninvited contact, email, letter, phone call, or advertisement and false promises. Such practices allow scammers to swindle targeted individuals out of money or other valuable objects. Useless information that I don't know what you're going to do with it. And the Office of Fair Trade stopped existing in 2014, and it's now called the Financial Conduct Authority. So if you search for it, you might find it with a different name. Okay, so some general information about fraud. It's actually a very big business. It's very profitable. So in the UK in 2008, it was worth, as a business, think about it as that, 731.8 million, which is how much people lost in it. 236 million was lost in authorized push payments. So what people do is they hack a business's account, then the hackers start monitoring your, if you're a business, your emails with other businesses, and when the payments are made or are about to be made, they intervene, create their own account, and the one business pays that forward instead of the actual business. The annual fraud indicator for frauds and scams in the UK say it's worth, well, it's an industry, a business, is worth 130 to 190 billion. So it's a very, very, very profitable thing to do. Very illegal, but very profitable. In the US, the Consumer Sentiment Network received 2.7 million reports for scams in 1 year, which was total to $905 million. It was worth the money that was lost. Between April 2018 and March 2019 in the UK, 741,123 crimes were reported to action fraud. So not the police, action fraud. And that was worth 2.2 billion. 65% were businesses that were scammed and 35% were individuals. Now, I won't believe that it was only 35%. I think maybe it's a bit higher. But again, remember that most people might not come forward about being a victim of fraud if the amount was small, or if they decided to contact the bank instead of action fraud. The Crime Survey for England estimated that 3.2 million incidents of fraud happened the Crime Survey works from March to March, so that was 2017 to 2018. I'm expecting these numbers to be a lot higher after we come out of COVID, so next year's number will be fascinating to see. what effect COVID has had. So some information about the victims. People assume it's usually older people that are affected by scams because of their age, and now we live in a technological savvy world, and a lot of older people, are not as comfortable with technology. But it's now been discovered that a lot of younger people are victims of fraud, and especially financial fraud. If you think about it, between the ages of 20 and 29, it's the first time you're dealing with finances on your own, without your parents, without somebody else monitoring or helping you. So a lot of people might get into a situation where they're thinking, oh, I've messed up, I can't tell my parents, I'll deal with it on my own because I'm an adult, and get into even messier situations than they already are in. Some of the effects that it has, obviously, is financial, psychological and emotional. And if it's a large amount of money, people might even attempt suicide, because in some cases they can lose thousands and thousands of pounds. They're feeling shame, they're angry because of what happened, they're embarrassed. And because taxes is something that it's quite difficult and not a lot of people have an understanding over it, it makes the situation even worse, I think, for them. And sometimes they have not been realized that they have been scammed until somebody else tells them that has happened to them. I think I skipped a slide. Yes, I did skip a slide. Types of fraud. So there's 50 different types of frauds, which could be identity theft, romance fraud, miracle cure. It's usually with terminally ill patients, where they'll tell them that if you go to this clinic and they will help you, or there's a miracle cure if you drink this type of water or this type of medicine. Slimming cure scams, tax fraud, phishing, online scams, spam emails, which are the most prevalent ones we see a lot of times, the HMRC, which we're going to talk about today, and even fraud, recovery fraud. So for people that don't know, Professor David Cantor is the guy who created investigative psychology, and he's done a lot of research on fraud. And he was scammed using the fraud recovery fraud, and he lost £18,000. Yeah, they called him supposedly from his bank, and they persuaded him to move his money from 3 different bank accounts into the scammer's bank account. And he didn't even realize it until all the accounts were emptied. So anybody can be a victim of fraud, even researchers. So the HMRC IRS scam is mostly based on the technique, which is called phishing. So usually occurs via phone calls, emails, or websites that pose as legitimate sites. So it can be that, but it can also move into other sites. For example, my dad was scammed in using TV license. He wanted to change from one house to another. He found the first website. He thought it was legitimate. It wasn't. And he paid. And then a couple of weeks later, TV license said, why haven't you moved house yet? Why haven't you paid? And he was like, ouch. They still email him even like 2 years later to pay from that account. So it can, once you scammed once, they'll keep sending you more, because they know they can get money out of you. So the phishing is the fraudulent attempt to obtain sensitive information, username, passwords, national insurance number, anything that they can get access to your bank account, a new identity for you, take bank loans out of you, everything is possible. There's a video, the one doesn't work, but the other one works. Let me see if I can get it to show you. 1 second. Okay, so okay, share with sound. If there's a problem with the sound, please let me know.
I've been an accounts manager for many. I'd seen it all, but I've never even heard of a spoofing app. got a call on my direct line from the bank's fraud department. They said, fraudulent tax on your business account. We said, don't worry, we blocked your account and we're going to refund the money. And because your account's been compromised, we're going to send you a welcome pack and the card reader's on its way. Just need to confirm your security details. Well, obviously, I looked at my phone and the number matched exactly with the number of our bank. And the man was very calm, professional, convincing. I didn't realise that these spoofing apps were used for prank calls by kids, and it disguises the genuine number. The fraudster emptied our business account overnight. We lost thousands. I couldn't sleep. I thought I was going to lose my job, and where he was going to employ me at my age. I should have made sure what the current scams are. In my position, I should have known I should never have divulged our security details. If only I'd phoned the bank back on the real customer service number, I could have verified if the call was genuine.
Okay, so these spoofing apps, he says, if you want to Google it right now and say spoofing ID, a bunch of apps will show up on your phone helping you create fake numbers. So in most of the cases, they change the, Google it right now, I did it. It's like the top 3, it's amazing. And it can change a number to absolutely anything. And these people, they will use genuine IRS numbers, HMRC numbers, and you will actually think it's an official number that's calling you, but it's not, it's a fake one. So how do they obtain the information and these lists? There's different ways. One is hacking HMRC. That could be difficult, but if they succeed, they can do it. Employees might give them the information because they want more money. If the HMRC is working with an external contractor, they might get hacked. And in many cases, they might not even tell the HMRC that they have been hacked, because then they will lose the contract. And the other is like hacking banks and stuff like that, which you can buy all of that for, I think it was like £5 for a list of thousands of people's IDs, bank statements, absolutely everything on the dark web. So it's not that difficult to get access to people's information if you know where to look. So in this, for this study, the aim was to explore different ways of how the scammers commit the fraud, reveal the pattern, and then use the methods they use to try to get the victims to pay large amount of monies. So 30 YouTube videos were used. So troll YouTube videos is where people, some people do it as a job, where they sit and actually have a full discussion with these scammers as a way, as they believe, they're like vigilantes. They believe by spending time with these scammers, they're saving somebody else from getting scammed. So for the analysis, I will give you an example with this YouTube video, how to use. So if you're not bored and you're interested in it, try to find, and whilst you're watching this video, find some information that it give away that this is a scam. So if you write down some notes, and then we can discuss them after we've seen the video. We're not going to watch the whole thing because it's like 18 minutes. So we're going to watch about 10. Let me get this set up. One second, because the Zoom screen is also okay. This is it. Okay, no, stop sharing. Yes. Okay. Okay. Sound start. Okay. So if you want to make notes, you can start making notes now.
4201.
RA4201.
Yes, R as in Robert, A like an airplane.
Okay, yeah. So Alpha Romeo,
Okay.
Echo Alpha 4201.
Yeah.
And you're
Correct.
an investigating officer with the HMRC.
Correct.
Okay.
And now I would like to give you the case number. Your case number is 89224. 1761Z. Z like in zebra.
Oh, right. Sorry. One moment. My pen's just run out. I do apologise. I'll just type it on my computer here. Sorry.
Oh, sure.
Okay. Sorry. Could you repeat that number to me? Sorry. Hello.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. Sorry. Could you give me the case number again, please?
Sure. It's 89224
89224
1761. Z.
I'll just read that back to you.
Sure.
89224 1761.
Z. Z as in zebra.
Oh, Z, you mean?
Yes. After what?
Sorry, Mr. Harris, are you American?
Sorry?
It's just, sorry, I'm a bit flustered, but we pronounce that as Z in England, not Z.
Yes, yes.
Right. Okay, so it's
Okay,
8922411761 Z for Zulu.
Yes. As I told you Z, because before I told you Z, I thought that you don't understand. So I told you Z.
No, sorry. It's yes. Like I said, I'm just a little bit nervous. I've never been in trouble, any kind of trouble before. So do forgive me.
You can write down the warrant ID.
Okay.
It's P2, P like in paper.
Yeah.
248.
248.
Dash 1965.
Dash 1965. Okay.
Can you read it back to me?
Yes. P for paper 248 dash 1965.
Correct. So now before I proceed ahead, it's my job to notify you that this line are being recorded and monitored by the HMRC headquarters as well as by the Judicial Courthouse, even your local state authorities, the Attorney General Office, and I would highly appreciate you if you do not interrupt me in between while I'm speaking. I want you to listen to me very carefully. I promise I will give you fair enough chance to speak and raise your entrance question once I complete my part. Okay?
Yeah.
Alright, so here what happened, the HMRC have conducted a re-audit on your tax filing for the period in between 2010 till 2016. And this is not particular 2 years that I'm talking for your last 6 years, 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. And when we completed this audit, we found out under Section 150 of the ITA, Income Tax Act, that you have inappropriately underpaid your taxes, and the amount of £3,994 have been underpaid by you. Now, it is claimed that it has been unpaid or it was a kind of miscalculation. Whenever you are filing your taxes, you should be very correct with the digits, because if a single digit gets mistake in your tax filing, then your whole calculation amount gets wrong. And in that case, it is called as a miscalculation error. And in duration between those years, there was several errors in your taxes. And we have strong evidence that shows it is, well, I mean, it was not an innocent negligence, but we have a reason to believe that it was a willful act done with an intention to defraud the HMRC, because we tried to notify you twice with the written letter at the doorstep, but both the time you was not there at your home, as those were certified letters. We need your signature to deliver, as the letter can't be delivered as you was not there at your home. The letter bounced back to us because if we left out those documentation without your signature, you might face identity theft problem, and we are not authorized for that. We are not responsible for that, as you was not responding for the yellow slip which was slapped at your doorstep. HMRC thought that you was trying to run away from the situation. You are hiding yourself and you are trying to fraud with the government. So in this case, this is the only reason why there is a serious legal case against you has been filed to the courthouse regarding 4 serious allegations on your name. These serious allegations are: count number 1, violation of revenue tax regulation; count number 2, violation of HMRC taxation revenue code; count number 3, theft by deception; and count number 4, willful misrepresentation of information or tax evasion and tax avoidance to the government organization. So at this point of time, we have decided to forcefully recollect this amount from you by involving the HMRC code PSLA 2011/18 against you. What this code means to you is HMRC will mark a lien on your official assets, even including your house, car, and all your known bank account will be frozen and confiscated starting today. It shall also be published in local media and local newspapers with your recent identity proof. Any existing payment plan with the HMRC shall be terminated under Section 30AF HMRC Code. In addition to recording criminal conviction, the courthouse may impose security bonds, community service order, fines, additional penalties, and for some offense, imprisonment sentence. Your passport, state ID, and your driving license will be seized, and they will also file a red flag notice under Section 11A. Now, if you have any question, please go ahead and ask me before I sign up your case paper and forward it to the higher authorities.
I'm going to stop it here because he just keeps going. Okay, so any ideas? How was it fake? You can put them in chat or you can open your mic. I don't have a problem. There we go. What am I doing? Okay, you can see this, right? Okay, cool. It's back. There we go. How was what he was saying all lies? What is the first thing that jumped out to you when he started talking? Okay, let's see. Chat. Yes. Open chat.
There's
Isn't
some,
it open? Oh, there we go.
yeah,
Yes.
you got it.
Yes, you now got it. Yes, he's judicial courthouses. It's because they do the IRS ones as well at the same time. So they mix up what happens in the States and what happens in England. They get innocuous. Yes, of course they're gonna haul him to prison. Of course the Attorney General was listening. It was linked. You heard him. Yep. It pretty much you guys got everything. Okay, let me go here. Okay, let's okay. So yeah, he contacts the victim. That was the first one, creating that he is an officer. The officers will never contact you. He created the whole story. They give names. They always give fake names. And then they start asking, like, if we watch the video further down, you can go watch it on YouTube if you want in your own time. It goes like, for some of his videos go for like 35 minutes. He starts asking more information, like, why didn't you get this yellow slip? Where do you live? Things like that. So he introduced the case. He gave a reference number that had, it wasn't a reference number. He just put random numbers and letters together. He told him all the consequences. So he was going to go to prison. They were going to arrest him. And then it moves along. So then it will start going to playing it hard. So they will say, this is what's happening. I'm just telling you that you're going to prison, that you don't have an option. And then it will change and it will go to, well, if you pay, this can suddenly disappear and go away. But you can't pay it to him. You have to pay it to his senior officer because he's just simple guy there working on the case. Somebody else has to authorize it. Somebody else has to say, yes, this is okay to do. And then we get to the payment guidance. Now, there's two different types. In the US, they use iTunes cards because it's very difficult to find the amounts after they've been transferred out. In England, they use debit cards. So depending on the country and the video you watch, it will have two different outcomes. So in some cases in the States, they paid thousands upon thousands on iTunes cards. In the US, they will even accompany the victim. They will stay in line until the person buys the iTunes cards. So something similar that happens in Greece is the type of scam that they do here is they go up to usually older people and they say, your son or your daughter has been in an accident. Or they're going to get arrested and we need you to pay, I don't know, 3,000 euros or 4,000. So it's similar to that. They accompany the old person to the bank and make sure they withdraw the money from their account, just to make sure that the person does that. So they repeat threats. You're going to get arrested. This is what's going to happen to you if you don't do this. And then it swaps. It's the secrecy, like, don't tell anyone that this happened. Keep it quiet. Again, there's a reference number of the case, which means nothing. And then there's a receipt. Your receipt will be forwarded you to your email account. Never going to happen. So as you guys said, this is the list of phrases that are giveaways. So a warrant is an activation mode. No. A letter was on yellow slip. Never going to happen. So these are some of the phrases that help us understand that they're lying. But don't forget, this is a high pressure situation. And if they find the person is vulnerable at that time, you might even hear those words and not even register. You just think everything is normal. So even though it's bluntly clear that they're lying, if you're in an environment that is stressful, you will not understand that these are all lies. So similar, you will be executed. I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of people out there that's carried out tax fraud and then not executed. If you don't pay, we will ask you for more in court. Usually if you go to court, the number goes down, it doesn't go up. Things like that. But again, it's a high stressful situation. And if you find yourself in it and you're not thinking correctly, you're not going to see it. You just want to get out as fast as humanly possible. I will send the IRS investigation team to arrest you. I don't think it's the IRS, it's the police that and the police will not notify you that they're coming to arrest you. They'll just show up at your door. And then again, it depends on the scammer's experience. So recently I got a call from a scammer. She was a woman, and she said she was asking me if I have Sky internet, which I do, and I could understand that she wasn't very good because she kept having really long pauses. So I'm thinking she was reading the script. And it got to the point where I'm like, I know you're a scammer, but you're annoying me at how bad you are at this. So I was like, yeah, no. So again, if they're good, they will persuade you. If they're not good, you're just going to figure it out pretty quickly. So why do people fall for these scams? They threaten them with things that actually happen to people that evade paying tax. So they will freeze your accounts, which does happen. They will take away your passport and your driver's license. They will take your house. They will have property confiscations. All of these things do happen to people that owe money, but it never happens if you owe a small amount of money. But you don't think about it in that situation. You go straight to the consequences and you're like, God, this is what's going to happen. When in reality, it probably won't. So what were the results of the study? So in most cases, it was with the scammers, some women, but a lot less. In most of the cases, they had an accent, as the guy on the video had. So the language, because if you're not a native speaker, sometimes you translate what you're thinking. So if something makes, for me, for example, if something makes grammatically sense in Greek, but I translate it in English, it might not make any sense whatsoever. So they may say something like, as I say to you before, your case and papers will be inside the courthouse. It's okay, but it doesn't actually mean anything. It's not correct. They will use threats and try to intimidate you. We will take your kids away. The IRS or the HMRC will not take your kids away. That is a very different thing. But again, if you're not thinking correctly, you're gonna go worst case scenario. Most of the times, the surrounding environment, you can hear other, so it sounds like a call center instead of being somewhere very quiet. The senior manager usually appears, but sometimes they don't even do that. Anger management, most of them will not show, they will not be angry. This is their job, they're used to it. They will remain calm throughout, even if they're provoked. Very rare, like in 6 cases, they exhibited anger. So in most cases, they're very calm. Remorse, they show no remorse. This is their job. It's not something that they think they don't think about it as something that is immoral, something. I get up, I go to my job, I call people, I make them pay money, and that's it. Payment method, again, depending on the country, differs. iTunes if it's the States, direct debit, or bank transfer if it's in England. Contact, they will call you on your landline, they will call you on your mobile phone, they might leave a message, things like that. Sometimes it's through email. This is the HMRC, call us on this number, for example. Call behavior, they will remain very calm. They will ask information from the victim. They will ask if they have past criminal records, if they had problems with the taxes. They will even wait. If the call waits an hour, they will stay online because they know that there is a possibility that they will get the money in the end. So communication persistence, sometimes they will call again and again and again. Sometimes they will have the victim's private information. As we said before, through the dark web, is very easy to get people's information. There's also a suckers list. So people who have been scammed are on these lists because they believe it's easier to get you. If you fall for it once, you will fall for it again. As I said before, my dad went on a website and paid a TV license to a website that has nothing to do with TV license. And he got an email like 3 weeks ago, and he panicked and thought he hadn't paid, and he was ready to pay again until I was like, no, this is not legit. So it happens. Even though he was scammed, he just went straight to, I haven't paid TV license. He didn't look at anything else on the email. Phishing, again, private information, where do you live, do you live alone, have you had a criminal record, things like that. Secrecy, don't tell anyone this is happening. Exhibiting fear, again, it's their job. They're not going to be fearful for it. One example was one guy said, if I lose this job, my family won't be able to eat. And then another guy was like, call whoever you want, you can't get me, which is legitimately true. How can you get, because even though they're taking your money out of England or the UK, this person could be in India, in Pakistan, in Spain, anywhere. And it's not, okay, let's say maybe in Spain, there is some overlap due to the European Union, but there's no extradition treaty in most of the cases in other countries. So even if there is, how are they going to find them? India is a very big country, and those call centers usually move around pretty quickly in case they find out. And don't forget, bribing goes on and things like that. So there's no way you can find them, even if you could. So a call excuse, in 27 of the cases, scammers told the victims they owed money, which is the most logical. The case reference number and a badge number, they will, as the guy did, he gave him a reference number. good for him. The request amount, it can go from $500 to $5,982. And in some cases, they might just empty your account, which can happen. So the other thing they do is like, oh, I'm researching information of your file, and they just pause the call for like 30 seconds, and they come back and it's like, oh, I found it. They didn't even look. Like there's some videos on YouTube that you can see, again, with trolls wasting time of scammers, and you can actually see they hacked into the camera, and you can see them just sitting around talking to each other for the 30 seconds that you're waiting for the call. Identity, they'll give names like James Anderson or John Cooper, things like that, John Green, and they're just fake names. Any name that they can come up with, they will give it. So location, as we said, it's usually abroad. There are some in England, but it's usually much cheaper to do it abroad. Sometimes they will use vulgar and insulting language, especially if they understand that the troll is wasting the time. Patience, they will be very patient. Like you can hear them sometimes tell them like family stories, and they will still stay online. Inducing fear and being intimidating, you will be arrested. We will get you like your family will know that this happened. And sometimes they will be verbally aggressive. Not always. They're usually pretty calm. It's like working in a call center. You have to hear people saying crazy things to you, and you're like, okay, this is my job. I'll listen to it. So the conclusion is that, okay, there's been a few articles in the newspapers warning people that this happens. But again, if you think about it, like if you look at how many people have been scammed every year, when would you look about tax fraud? If you're doing research, if you've been scammed, and if you want information. Most people know it happens, but they don't actively look about prevention things and awareness. So, for example, Europol has a really nice, flashy website. It tells you all the information about scamming and different, and how to be careful due COVID. Now with COVID, things are going up, the frauds. But who's going to look at it? Realistically, nobody's actually looking for this information. The HMRC has information for that on their website. The IRS, they have a list, which I'll show you, with like the most popular scams. But people don't look for those things until they have been scammed. So it's more important to create awareness, maybe have like advertisements on TV that like 30 seconds, be aware of this. If somebody calls you and asks like things, a lot of banks now are doing like awareness things like once a week, where you can have like a Zoom call like this and talk about it. But again, it needs to be more publicly acknowledged. There needs to be more through medias like Facebook or Twitter, or things that people actually use. So this is the list of the dirty dozen, as they're called. Again, the scams, abuse both the IRAs, phishing, disguising corporate ownership, zero wages, things like that are very like popular and happens a lot. But like we said, it's not enough to have that information on a website when most people don't use them or don't look for them. That was it. I'm trying to think, like if you're interested in like romance scams and that, go watch 90 Day Fiancé. There's a couple of them. They're amazing how much money they steal of people. This guy went to the Ukraine and looked for this girl. They were talking like 7 years on a website that you pay, and she didn't show up, and he still keeps going, and he believes that this person exists. It's amazing. Go watch it. Any questions?
Oh, that was brilliant and fun as well. Yeah, so any questions, please pop them in the chat. I was just thinking that, I mean, it used to be so easy. It feels like, you know, you used to get emails and it says, if you get a dodgy email, don't click on the link. That seems easy enough, but the strategies have advanced in time. So even now, sometimes it's really hard to tell what's true and what's not.
I mean, like if you want to look about the TV license thing, the website looks legit. I even looked at it and I was like, wow, this is amazing. And then there was like three options later, somebody said this is a scam. So the legitimate website was underneath the fake one. So it's that good now compared to like years ago.
It's scary.
Oh, Nathan has a question on the topic of fraud awareness. Would you agree that this is also a data protection issue?
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of overlap. If you think how often big companies are being hacked, like I think it was last year where EasyJet was hacked and millions of like not just your information, but like credit cards and things were lost. So yeah, there is an overlap. But again, I think with the data, companies are always going to be hacked. I think that because with Google, when you like buy something, it's like, do you want me to save this? People should learn that the answer should be no, not yes. I know it's easy. I like with Amazon, it's easy when your card is already there. You just click it and you go. But yeah, I think there's need to be a lot of awareness from a lot of the younger generation. So like the kids at school. So things like that. Don't link your account with like, I don't know, Apple Pay. Use like a prepaid card, things like that. Small things that will teach people how to protect themselves. Yeah, it definitely is. You have to be for the scammer under the correct mindset. So again, with the thing they do here with older people where they call up and they know information about you, they try to get you when you're vulnerable and when the person that they're talking about is not near you. So there's no way for you to verify if this happens or not. So if you're for example, at that time you're going through financial stuff, or you're moving house, or there's something that stresses you out, it's the perfect opportunity for them.
Francesca says, very interested in talk and creative research. Yeah. I remember reading somewhere that the bad grammar used in many scam emails is used purposefully to identify more gullible potential victims. Would you say it's true, or is it a myth? And if true, is there any evidence that scammers may target different potential victims using different levels of realism in their attempts?
I mean, it probably is. This is a fun fact. There's not a lot of research on tax fraud. I think because it's a very difficult area for people to actually acknowledge that they have been a victim. Like I can tell you, I know at least 3 or 4 people that have been through it. But if you tell them, did you go to the police? Did you report it? They'll say no. So we don't actually know if it's true. And think about it. You get an email or something from Amazon, and it says your account has been hacked. What is the first thing you do? You panic. So it plays upon that. Even I think with the spoofing things, you can send a message which shows it is from Amazon, but it's not from Amazon, because Amazon will rarely contact you directly. But how many people you know that have been hacked? And you say, oh, I've been hacked and it informed me, so I went and changed all my passwords. It's very easy to happen. Even if it's a very poor attempt, it can happen. Yeah, they definitely do. It again, it depends on what they want to do. Like with realism, that they a friend of mine, her mom was contacted and there was a phone call, and she said, oh, she had a car accident and she just seen her daughter like 2 minutes ago, and she was in the same house, and her mom believed it. So yeah, realism does play into it.
I have a question.
Yes.
What do you think are the benefits and or disadvantages of using trolling videos from YouTube or any other sites to do this sort of research?
I mean, it's good. It has a level of realism in it. But again, because the person knows what's happening, they're not really giving the answers. They're giving the answers that the scammer wants. So up to a level, it's realistic, but then because you know what's happening, it's not realistic enough. But then the question start, how can you find people that are being scammed and see how they behave the moment they're being scammed? Yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah. Anyone else?
One from Nathan. You might have mentioned this in your talk, but broadly speaking, what demographics do you believe to be particularly susceptible to scams, and what is your recommended approach to increase awareness of fraud prevention and abuse of the personal data?
Okay. Again, I think anybody can be any age, but I think it's easier to target older people, especially the one if it has to do with technology. So like with malware on your laptop and things like that, or your phone, go for the older generations. Bank information, that go for younger people. There's a lot. One of my friends, he nearly got scammed, and he's doing a PhD in chemistry. Somebody called him and said there's fraudulent activity in your account, and the only reason he realized it was a scam, it was because it happened to one of his girlfriend's friends, and she told him the story, and that's how he realized halfway through the call, oh, this is not real. So anybody can happen. It can happen to anyone. How do you prevent? Again, going to schools, teaching younger people how to deal with their finances. Even TV shows. So, for example, show it on like soap operas and stuff like that. Things that people can relate to. I think there was a TV show a couple of years ago about like this type of phone scam. I don't remember what it was called. It had a really terrible ending, but it just showed like she sold her house. Somebody called her, she moved the money, and then she lost everything, and how it affected her family. So from that aspect, it was really good. But then it went to the extreme point, and you were like, okay, you lost me here. So things like that, show it in TV, show it in a film, things that people can relate. Put an advertisement on Facebook, things like that.
A former PhD colleague here from Francesca here in Edinburgh who researched cybercrime found that although younger people have a lot more awareness of cybercrime, scams, etc., they still often take no measures against it and consider it something that will happen to them sooner or later. It sounds like they were probably right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Francesca.
Yeah, again, it's like my whenever I make a payment online, my bank is like, are you being coerced to do this? Even if I was, and the person is sitting next to me, I'm not gonna type in, yes, I'm being coerced, when the person next to me is like, is threatening me to do it. So I don't know why they think that's a prevention technique.
I remember I was also almost scammed. I think it was like an email and said something about, you know, put in your card details to verify something, an account or something. And I was like half halfway putting my card details in, and then I was like, well, this isn't right. Why would they ask me for my card details?
Yeah.
I think it was even something that was sent through the university. It was like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
thing that was going around the university.
There was at one point in the University of Huddersfield, we were having like scam emails constantly. I don't know who hacked them, but yeah, it was wild.
And then I emailed the PGR office and
Yeah.
with the thing, and I said, "Is this really from you guys?" Oh, Brigitte has it's a few years ago, there was a huge scam on Airbnb, maybe still, but when you're going to pay, the payment site that opened was a mirror site. So the client paid on the mirror site, and then when they came to the property, it was not available.
Yeah, it happens a lot, even with big companies. What was it where they hacked the affair one, the cheating one, Madison something, where they hacked the accounts and they got people's information, and they were then threatening, I think it was also the company, but the people that would release all their personal information, who they were cheating on, what they were doing. So it can happen to any big company. It's a very big business, and it's so easy. If you're a hacker, like Solomon, who came and did the cyber crime thing, he showed us how easy it is to create a fake account or to hack somebody's account. It's even all the protections he had, it's so simple if you know what you're doing.
Very true. Does anyone have any more questions? Or just comments?
Well, I think if that's us. Oh,
Yes, that's
there
very
was
true.
something- Yeah. Before you pay, it's important to check the web page address is correct. Yeah. Yeah. So if that's us, I'm just gonna say thank you, everyone for coming, and thank you, Ntaniella, and
Welcome.
we hope to see you guys at some other events as well.
Awesome. Nice to see you all.
Oh, our next event actually is
Yeah.
on, just to mention our next event. Andrea, do you want to?
Yeah, so it'll be on the 25th of November on prisoner voting rights, called Votes Behind Bars. And we're going to have Luke Campbell from the University of Edinburgh and Milena Tripkovic, which some of you might know. Yeah, so they're going to lead a conversation on that. So yeah, 25th at 2:30 p.m.
We also have another one on the 8th of December at 5 o'clock, where Laura James from the Howard League of Penal Reform in England and Wales will be talking about experiences of prisoners during the COVID pandemic.
Right. Thank you, Ntaniella. And thank
You're
you
welcome.
everyone for coming. We will see you at our next events, and have a lovely evening.
Great.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Bye.
Ciao.